I wanted to talk about why it is so hard to diagnose avoidant personality disorder and why it's so hard to treat it. Because, and again, there are people who self-diagnose. The people who self-diagnose are something like 99% or more actually not avoidant personality disorder. Not personality disorder. There's probably a good chance that you have some of the traits, but to actually have a personality disorder, no. And one of the reasons why, the thing is that the people who have gotten formal diagnoses from doctors, the story I've heard over and over and over again was, I had no idea this even existed. I had no idea. And then when I heard what it was and the doctor explained it to me, it was like, wow, this is the perfect description of me, and had no idea this thing was even a problem. Didn't think it was possibility that it was a psychological issue at all. Just thought there's something wrong with me. I'm weird. You believe the crap that you've been told that, like my big thing I was told all my life, you're a snob. No, that's not it. Anyway, so let me get to more to the point. As if I could, right? There are two distinct types of mental issues that people can have, and they are either egosyntonic or egodystonic. Now, if something is egosyntonic, that means that even though it is sort of incorrect by any standard that anybody would say, it's pure mental illness in a nutshell. I know personality disorder is this mental illness, whatever. It's something that's wrong, not normal. But if it's an egosyntonic, it's like synchronized, it absolutely dovetails in with a person's idea of themselves and of the world. And it makes perfect sense, and so therefore they don't question it. If it's egodystonic, then it seems totally at odds with their own personality and their self. So a lot of people, when they try for a diagnosis, they finally go to a doctor for avoidant personality disorder and get their first diagnosis, they think nothing of their personality. They think nothing. They just, okay, I'm weird and I'm odd, and that's it. And they don't even consider that there could be something else going on. The dystonic part, the problem that they're having is usually a depression or something like that, which is a result of the avoidant personality disorder. And that's what makes them go, because they finally seek treatment of some sort, unless, like in my situation, I sort of had a crisis and it was forced upon me. I never would have gone at all, except, again, it was forced on me. And then they gave me the diagnosis, and that's what it was. And I was like, well, what do you know? There's something going on here. I had no idea at all. I personally did not act on my own to go to a doctor. I was sucking it up and believing this is the way my life is, and that's it, and suffered through and thought that I deserved to suffer through. And that is basically how all personality disorders are. Because, again, as I've said over and over and over again, personality disorder is your personality. It's not how the majority of people live their lives, and it's usually based on some kind of massive inaccuracy in your self-perception. And it's a whole bunch of coping techniques that you use to deal with a trauma that have become completely integrated, and now this is how you live your life, and this is who you are. But because of that, you can't see, sorry, I'm getting shaky, you can't see that there's a problem with you. And so that's why people just don't realize. If you think, oh, I think I have avoidant personality disorder. Most likely you don't. You have something else with those that list of behaviors. And again, avoidant traits is very likely and very common. It's almost 100% of people in the world have got avoidant traits at some point or another. Avoidant personality disorder is a different thing entirely, and usually people have no clue about it, and they're told by a doctor, and they go, wow. I mean, I thought that was bizarre. I thought it was weird for me. I was like, okay, well, there's another example of how weird and odd and lame I am, etc. All this, little things that everybody says. And then I heard it again, that somebody else, same thing. I had no idea until a doctor told me. And then I heard it again, and then I heard it again, and then I heard it again. And the other thing, I mean, I keep, it's strange to me that in a way that I think sort of like the opposite and the enemy of an avoidant personality disorder is somebody with borderline. My experiences have been incredibly bad with borderline people and multiple borderline people. I've had three that were really horribly negative, and not my parents. But again, I've also known other people that have borderline personality disorder who've been through the therapy who are better. So I want to keep saying that, but this is another thing. Again, this is pervasive to all personality disorders that they don't realize. Like a narcissist will just think, okay, well, I'm self-confident. That's all it is. Borderline personality disorder, they resist so much the label that, and I think that's why. I think that's one of the reasons why. I mean, it's just totally normal to them. It is egosyntonic. It is who they are. They don't see anything different or weird about it. And that's the other thing is, again, that judgment thing. People don't judge correctly. That's why people who don't have avoidant personality disorder will see that list of description of what's in there and not realize the extent and how extreme it has to be, and how absolutely infiltrating every part of your life and permanent it is, and that doesn't come and go. It doesn't get better depending on the situation, etc. They don't get that, so they don't see, it doesn't, it just doesn't register to them exactly how strongly it is. And the same with avoidant people. They don't register it because it's just constantly there. And because their self-esteem is so low that you get the avoidance thoughts that are the malfunctioning, dysfunctioning, whatever they call it, maladaptive, that's the word. The maladaptive ways of dealing with the world completely sinks in with their low self-esteem. So they're like, okay, no, this makes sense. Borderline people can't accept or see that they're borderline because it's normal to them. And they can't see how extreme it is. They think there's something wrong with everybody else. They don't think there's something wrong with them. And that's how it is. Now, so that's the problem with diagnosing specifically avoidant personality, but basically all personality disorders. The problem with the treatment is, again, it perfectly syncs. It perfectly syncs. It's egosyntonic. It syncs right in with their view of the world, their view of themselves, how everything seems to work. It just makes perfect sense. So if you have treatment that comes in, it's trying to teach people that the world is just square instead of round, or however you want to put it. I mean, it's just wrong. This treatment, I mean, that is the thing, and that's when I've been in therapy, I've been on all kinds of different types of therapy, and it's so frustrating because, I mean, for me, It's like, whatever, here we go again. But for a new therapist, I'll get a new therapist. They'll try the same old, well, not even the same old. They'll try a different way, but basically the same old thing. They want me to think in a way that, I mean, it's sticking in my craw to say this, but they want me to think of myself the way that everybody else in the world thinks of me and what they see in me. And that's just, they're wrong. I'm right and they're wrong. And so what'll happen is I'll go into therapy and I'll go along with it. I'll try to be, think of myself more positive. I'll do the mantras. I'll do all that crap. And then all of a sudden it'll just get to a point where it will just turn right over. It's like, a glacier that flips over on itself. It goes right back to where it was. It just snaps right back. It will constantly, always snap right back. Doesn't matter what you do. I mean, the thing is that you can't, it's a personality. You can't change it. You can't make yourself over in a different way. You can't. It's your personality. Now, with it, gotta say, depends how young you are. Because your personality is not set until you're in your late 20s. And so even if you're like 24, 25 and you're seeing this now, if you do intensive therapy, you can move that fulcrum. You can. You can get it over, and you can you can reset your personality. You still can. It will be really hard, and you're going to have to really focus, and you have to not fight the therapy and go along with whatever they say and do it and work it really, really hard and make this like your life focus. And it's not going to be that you're suddenly going to be, Joe Fraternity or whatever. You're never going to be that point. You're never going to get to that point, but you can mitigate a lot of what's going on with your personality disorder and even bring it into normal range of personality if you're young enough. But if you're 30 and up, you're basically stuck. Most people don't get a personality disorder diagnosis until they're much older. Used to have a guideline for ages because basically if you're a teenager, then it's normal teenage behavior to act avoidant in a lot of situations. It's just normal. So yeah, so there's that. But that's what the problem with the treatment is. The problem with the treatment is you're going uphill. It sounds great to say you're going to learn to love yourself or whatever. You're going to learn to have high self-esteem. You're going to see the world in an accurate way. It's accurate to everybody else. It's not accurate to somebody with avoidant personality disorder, with extreme low self-esteem, who knows that avoiding close relationships and sort of giving into the introverted nature of avoidance, that's safe. It's seriously, I described it once as walking through a lava flow to get to something that may be safer. You're going to die where you are. The lava's going to come and get you. There's a lava flow going right in front of you. You walk through that lava flow, burn your legs off. Maybe you can get to the other side and have a better life, and maybe you'll die in the lava in the process. But you're going to die one way or the other where you are. That is what it's like. That is really what it's like, because you're going against everything that you know to try to break through. And that is why. It's because it's a total package. It all makes perfect sense. Even if it doesn't. Even if it's like, this abuse, I know, is wrong. I should not have had nobody on this planet should have ever been treated that way. It doesn't matter what they do. No child should have been treated that way. And yet, it still feels correct and right. Because the self-esteem is so damaged that it's like, well, of course that's how you treat low life like that. Talking about yourself. I don't know, but that's why. So, yeah, because it's egosyntonic is why it all fits together and why it is so hard to treat.